Can you please state your first name, age, and what city you reside in?
First name Aaliyah. I'm 24, and I live in Surprise.
Okay. Can you tell me how many children you have, their ages, and if you're currently pregnant?
So I have one daughter. She is 2 months now, and that's the only kid I do have. But later on in the future, we do plan on having more.
Okay. So this is the first, real question. Okay, so what is rewarding about being a mother? And then what challenges do you face as a mother?
What I think is rewarding is being able to know you can care for your child, and kind of watching them grow. That's the rewarding part of it. Seeing the different changes every month and every week. The challenge is when she's crying and you don't know what's wrong sometimes. So that's the biggest challenge I've came across. But I do get a lot of help. So it does help and reassures you after you find what's wrong. But that has been the biggest challenge. But it is rewarding at the end of the day.
How was your pregnancy experience or experiences if you've had other pregnancies? So how was your pregnancy experience? And then, for example, was it planned? What was your overall outlook about being pregnant? And then also, did you have any complications? What kind of support did you have? Things like that.
So the pregnancy definitely was not planned. We didn't expect to get pregnant. But as soon as we found out, we kind of took it from there and day by day what we're going to plan on doing. In the beginning, it was pretty easy, and then I did have a lot of morning sickness and just the simple things about pregnancy, but we didn't have any complications. We had a really good midwife to help us through it, and we planned on doing a natural birth.
So did you have any support, or what type of support did you have, if that makes sense?
I had my mom. My mom was there for the whole pregnancy from the beginning to the end, and still now. And also her father was there from the beginning. He helped a lot, especially with the sickness and food cravings. So I did have a lot of support mentally and physically.
Where did you, or do you, in general, get advice about or information on pregnancy, childbirth, or parenting? The pregnancy is over, the birth is over, and so now you're kind of in that parenting role. So where did you, or do you currently get advice about or information on those things? And then do you think this type of information was or is useful or relevant to you at all?
So I still contact my midwife whenever I'm freaking out about things that I'm not sure of what to do. And then she has a really good pediatrician. I also have joined pages online for mommies in the local area, and I have an app that reaches out to other moms with questions that we kind of have the same questions about or come across. And it's very helpful because it goes over different things when they're crying or they're not sure what's wrong, or different rashes or things that come up that you wouldn't really know how to handle. So those have helped me a lot with joining those pages.
Do you know if your midwife is a home birth midwife or a natural midwife or a clinician, or work in a hospital setting?
I don't think she works in a hospital. I know she does the home births and natural births. She kind of focus on that. Is what I know of.
And then the next question is, what type of things do you do to make sure that you're healthy? So healthy for yourself, and then healthy for your child and your family. And then what sort of things make it difficult for you to achieve that? Or are there any obstacles or barriers that make it difficult or prevent you from being how healthy, that you want to be?
Well, right now, exercise is important. I slack at that right now, but it is kind of challenging trying to schedule it in with the new baby and work and everything, trying to juggle that. But what we try to do is healthy eating. I went vegan before being pregnant, and I'm trying to get back onto that, but it is very hard going from vegan and then going back into eating meats, and then trying to go back to that has been challenging for me because it's just easy to go somewhere and get something to eat quickly rather than preparing meals. So that has been challenging, but I would like to get back to that. Yeah. did make a difference.
What type of support, resources, or events would you like to see like happening in your area? So like you said, you guys live in Surprise. So like what type of support or resources or events would you like to see?
It's kind of hard with COVID and everything to do different things, but I know sometimes my mom works through a company where we do vending and stuff, so something like that where in the community where they can do like movie in the park type things where other moms can come out and meet other moms, because kind of going through the same thing with young parents as well as new babies, so that would be nice, kind of getting the intake of other moms with different gatherings or just events in the town.
So when you said like speaking of like resources and things like that, like when you had mentioned like the online groups and stuff like that, so can you speak a little bit more about that? Like what made you be like, oh, I'm gonna go online, and look at groups or Facebook or social media?
Because when I got pregnant, a lot of my friends that don't have kids, I can't really relate to them anymore, and I actually met one of my closest friends for almost 3 years on Bumble Best Friends. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to be. So I was like, might as well just try something different and reach out to moms because I can relate to them a little bit better. So that's what kind of motivated me to do that and try it, because I'm like, I met my best friend online, so why not? Why can't I meet some other moms that I can relate to online as well, locally too?
And then also, like speaking of resources, also you mentioned like an app. So what is that like?
So the app, it kind of just categorizes like if you are looking for moms that have the same age, or it tells you on there. It's kind of like a dating profile, kind of set up like that, but it tells you local moms in the area, and it tells you how old their children are, and then there's little blogs that they do where they can talk about different a good pediatrician in the area, or different things that moms can do with their kids, or anything in the area that really it helps a lot.
So do you feel like this app and the resources or information that they post on the app, do you feel like it's relevant to you, or it? Okay.
It does. There's a lot of things that I found, because we had problems with colic, and I didn't know a lot about colic before. I did ask my midwife about it, but then there's other moms, reviewing things not to try, things to try. So it has helped a lot with current things that I'm going through with her as well.
And what made you pick a midwife?
I've always been into natural things a lot. When I was younger, I used to just mix natural, I'll make face creams and stuff out of oatmeal and stuff, like weird stuff like that. So I've always been into stuff that's been more natural because I knew it was healthier. And ever since I was younger, I would tell my mom, I want a natural birth. Don't let me do any epidural. I would always tell her that. And then when we got pregnant, I told my boyfriend, I was like, I think I want to do it natural, all natural. He's like, you sure? And I'm like, I think I could do it, but I've always imagined doing a natural birth at home.
And how was your birthing experience?
It was interesting. I imagined it. I kept watching videos. I would not recommend going on YouTube and looking at videos, because I did that the whole week that I thought I was in labor. But it was everyone's experience is different, and when I would go on there, I'm like, man, they've been in labor for like a whole week. So I thought I was gonna be in labor for a week, and it turned out I was only laboring for 4 hours, and it went by very quickly. It came and went, but it was a really good experience. I had a lot of support. I had my midwife there, and due to COVID, thankfully I was able to have my boyfriend there, my mom's friends, a really good support team to be there when she was born to help me through everything, and it was very helpful, and I wouldn't have chosen any other way.
And this was a home birth, right?
Home birth.
What are some of the things that are taboo about pregnancy, birth, and parenting? So, for example, what are people, and these people can be like doctors, media, social media, the community, or other parents. So what are people not discussing that you feel like needs to be talked about?
I think a lot of things that come up is kind of convincing women that they can't do it naturally. I think that's a very common thing, because I've talked to my friends and they're like, no, I can never do that. But I think women are capable of doing anything, and they can do that. It is possible, but I think it's been in the history of with doctors, they kind of tell you, just make it easier on them versus on you. So I have noticed that has been a big challenge in birthing, but it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I think that's kind of the taboo of pregnancy, to be honest.
So is there anything like about parenting? So I mean, I know she's a newborn, but
Yeah.
is there anything about parenting that you feel like no one talks about that you're wondering or that you feel like needs to be talked about?
I think mostly just kind of learning your child is one of the important things. I don't think a lot of people don't really tell you how to parent because they kind of let you take that hand yourself. They'll give opinions, of course, like my mom, they tell me different things that they've done with me, and it's good to get everybody's intake, but the important thing of kind of learning your child and parenting from there is what I've seen to work, but I won't know until later.
In the United States, Black and Native American women have some of the worst maternal and infant health outcomes. So, for example, the number of women who die in childbirth, the number of infant deaths, etc. So, why do you think that is, and how does this make you feel?
I think the reason is because, back in the day, slaves, they kind of experimented on us. We had a high pain tolerance, and I think that kind of carried on to now. And a lot of things of women dealing with hospitals, the pain tolerance, thinking, they're okay and not ignoring their concerns or a lot of things in the history. So I think that is one of the main reasons why the death rate.
So what factors do you think contribute to a healthy pregnancy, an ideal birth, and a successful transition into the parenting period?
I think eating healthy, exercise is really important because it will help you during birth. Also, just the support of not being afraid to ask for help, because that was one of my problems I had. After birth, I was trying to do everything myself and not really taking the time to say, hey, I need some help, and it's okay to ask for help. That was one of the things that I had to learn after my pregnancy, and even during my pregnancy, trying to do everything by yourself. When you have support to use it.
As a mom or as a mother, what type of questions do you ask yourself from time to time?
I kind of ask myself, could I have done anything different? Like even with her, having my daughter, when she cries, like what can I do better or what can I work on here? That's kind of what I have a problem with, but yeah.
Okay, well that's all the questions I have.